This here is the new Amazfit T-Rex 3 Pro, a watch that features a flashlight, among other new hardware features, as well as full offline rerouting. Not just the mapping piece, but the actual rerouting, route generation, etc. is now done in the watch. At least in theory. Now by now you've probably seen a bunch of YouTube clickbait that said it's another Garmin Fenix killer and so on. I'm not going to clickbait you like that. It's not even close to a Garmin Fenix killer, not even in the same range. It will, however, do some solid damage to the Instinct lineup. So I'm going to walk through this watch, how it works end to end on the new feature side of things. So I've got tons of rides and runs and nights and sleeping and all sorts of goodness to dive into where it works well and where it falls a little bit short. So starting off with the first thing to note is it actually comes in two sizes. This is the 48mm size, that's what's available today. And in October, there'll be a 44mm size. From a price perspective, it is $399, which is a very solid price. Way cheaper than obviously a Garmin Fenix series watch, which is at least double that for the kind of the current generation watches, or a little more than double that in fact. Though the Fenix 7 and the Epic series watches do tend to be in the $400 to $500 range, the same general price ballpark, even less than that. So keep that in mind. Now the first feature we're going to talk about very quickly and very easily is that it has a new brighter display. So in the case of the new Pro Edition, it has a 3000 nit display versus the existing edition has a 2000 nit display. Both of these displays are more than bright enough for what you need, even in bright sunny conditions. I live on a bright sunny Mediterranean island and I have no problem seeing either display. For context, the Apple Watch Ultra 2 is a 3000 nit display. The new Garmin Fenix 8 Micro LED is a crazy 4500 nits, but a regular Fenix 8 is about 1000 nits. All of them are perfectly visible in bright sunny conditions. There's not really a problem there. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the most exciting feature on this watch, which is the flashlight. So as you can see right there, there's actually two LEDs in that, two white LEDs. And if I go ahead and tap it once, the different light settings here. So that's now the brightest setting right there. And I go back down and there's a single red LED. So tap it once, again, again, again. And so the thing about flashlights that most people think is it's all about the outdoors and stuff like that. I'm here to tell you, someone's been using flashlights on watches for a number of years now. 95.7% of my usage is indoors, finding things under couches, in closets, getting to the bathroom in a hotel in the middle of the night. That kind of stuff is what I use the flashlight for, where I don't want to blind the room or just find my phone. Like, that's just perfect for that. That said, of course, it works outside just fine. Here's some examples of that out in the trails, just kind of showing you the brightness levels there. From a brightness comparison standpoint to the Fenix 8, for example, when it comes to close range, they're almost the same. They seem the same. But when it comes to like longer range stuff, the throw on the Fenix 8, how far that light goes out, does seem considerably brighter. Does that matter to me? No, honestly, not really. Like I said, I'm mostly just doing stuff in the house, trying to find things nearby. I don't tend to use it as a primary flashlight out on the trails. It's more like a backup thing in my tent or whatever the case may be. The T-Rex does actually have the ability to set up safety flashing at night in your run modes, for example. So you can basically set that up and use it as a steady or a flash. If you want to, you can choose the different kinds of flashing it does. And my personal preference is to automatically have it turn on after sunset. So it does that, which is a nice touch. It's not quite as versatile in the flashing patterns as a Garmin flashlight would be on their Instinct series or on their Fenix series or the Forerunner or anywhere else you want to pick there. But again, it gets the job done. And ultimately, the vast majority of the time, I'm just using the flashlight indoors to find something at night. So then let's get to the next new hardware item, which is the addition of a speaker. It's grouping together as microphone and speaker, but they've had a microphone in the past. Instead, this is about the speaker to use it for voice calling. Now, to be super clear, you need to have your phone with you. There's no cellular in this device. You need to have your phone with you to complete that phone call. Effectively, this is acting like a Bluetooth headset. That's kind of the simplest way to think about that. So the way this works is that you go into the phone app on the watch and you can dial someone. Either you can dial them by number or you can save contacts to it. Saving contacts is a little bit clunky, but it gets the job done eventually. Or you can look at those people that have called you recently and tap a call them. Once you do that, either receiving a call or want to send a call, give a call, make a call, create a call. Here's an example of that. Wow, the volume is way up on mine. I can barely hear you.
Yeah, I have the volume cranked up now. So how's your navigation going?
Oh, my navigation is amazing, dude. Like, it just goes everywhere, all the time. It's perfect.
I mean, yeah, you have to go.
Yeah, like you're almost unhearable. It's crazy. If you switch over to your phone and talk to that, is that better? Real quick.
All right, now I'm talking on my phone's speaker. How are you sounding?
Now you sound amazing. I can hear you from anywhere. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and okay. So, and over my phone speaker here, You sound pretty darn good. And let's see, I have you like about half volume. I think it's probably a combination of both because you're coming through pretty good now on my iPhone speaker. So I think it could probably be more of an issue with the speaker on the watch where it's just not loud enough during calls. I guess it's not an iPhone speaker.
No, it's not. Now, that same speaker is used in a bunch of other areas, including routing, which we'll talk about now. So, the T-Rex, the original T-Rex 3, already had offline maps on it. So, the ability to download maps for free onto the watch and follow those maps, assuming you had a route pre-created. Now, in addition to that, you can generate routes on the fly, offline on the watch. That's a huge deal, in theory, because it would be the first company outside of Garmin to do so. Not even Google and Apple do offline rerouting completely on the watch itself. They all have to have some sort of service do the rerouting for them online. Only Garmin can do true offline rerouting when it comes to a wearable. So that, in theory, would be huge. So the three core use cases that Amazfit talks about here is one, to create a round-trip route. So basically say, I want to go 10K in a given direction, create me a route. Two, the ability to do rerouting. So you're on a trail and something's blocking the trail, you want to reroute somewhere else, you can recalculate that route as you go around it. And three, navigating to a random point. You basically select a point on a map or a point of interest and route to that map. Let's walk through all three of those. It's how well they work in real life. Spoiler, this is where the dumpster fire section of the review starts, and it's pretty bad. So first up, round trip routing. In this case, you select the direction of travel. You want to go north, south, east, west, or you just don't care. Just want to go for like 10K, whatever it may be. You then choose the distance that you want, 10K, 11K, whatever, up to 50K, you can do this. And then it goes off and calculates. Sometimes it works. Most times it doesn't. It just simply fails. It seems like it works better when it's 10K or under. When I get above 10K, it like hard fails almost every single time. From a calculation standpoint, it's okay. Again, if you're only calculating like a 2-mile route, it takes just a few seconds. But if you calculate a 10K route, it took like 30 to 40 seconds. And beyond that, it failed almost every single time. So it didn't really matter. And in theory, it'll create 3 routes if you can even get past the 1 route. So once you have a route selected, you can go into to navigate that route. At this point, you get turn prompts to turn left, right, etc. And you also get them audibly from that speaker. But as with many things in Amazfit, there's lots of quirks here. It would often tell me to turn front left or front right, as opposed to looking over my shoulder and turning that direction. I think the problem is a lot of the translations are just horrible here. In front left and front right from all of my testing seems to mean slight left and slight right. But other examples being like when I would start a climb, at some point later, it would then say, go up elevation X meters. Mind you, in one case, I was already climbing for like 30 to 45 minutes up super steep grades. And then it's like, oh yeah, 5 minutes to the top, go up elevation. It literally says up elevation. Like, what? If you go off route from the course, it then tells you deviated, but it doesn't just tell you that. It like admonishes you for it. Listen to what it says.
You have deviated from the route. Please pay attention to your travel path.
You heard that? Pay attention, fools. That's all it's saying. Speaking of things to pay attention to, would be this video. If you could just simply watch it all the way through, that's the only thing YouTube cares about these days, and it really would help with the video and the channel itself. So the next piece here, and this is probably the most important piece, is the ability to create a route directly in the watch to any given point. So basically you can use the map app to go ahead and select a point somewhere else. You then tap at the bottom there and it'll calculate that route. Again, just like before, the majority of the time this fails. And sometimes the second time around it does work. I seem to have more success here in the round trip route, so I can get them to succeed usually on the second go. From there, you then choose the sport profile that you want. You can choose some sort of outdoor running, walking, or cycling are the 3 options you have. Then it sends it off for that profile, and then the route is essentially loaded in that sport profile just like it would any other route. But here's the thing. These routes are horrific. So sometimes it just creates routes like a drunk person. It's just all over the place, adding tons of extra mileage. But most of the time, it goes on the highway. So you can see this route right here. If I zoom in, it is straight on the full interstate style highway, right down into there. And even worse than that, it's going down into the oncoming traffic. Like, I kid you not, straight into the oncoming traffic. This is the highway. This is the exact interchange it wants me to go on into that oncoming traffic. And the real kicker here is off to the right there is a beautiful, huge 3-4 meter wide pedestrian biking path that follows most of that highway for a long, long time. Unless you think it's on the wrong place in the map, no, it's not, because there's points where that little walking trail and stuff goes off and meanders and whatnot here and there. And this just stays hard set on the highway every single time. In fact, every single route I created that had some portion of that highway involved within it, which is a lot because it's an island, so you're going to cross this highway quite a bit, it jumps on the highway every single time. But this isn't even the worst of the problems when it comes to navigation. The company touts automatic rerouting in all their marketing, but it doesn't automatically reroute at all, which by itself I'm not upset about. I just don't say it's automatic. Instead, you need to go into the navigation menus, but first need to stop your activity. I'm not kidding. You have to pause and stop your activities, then go to navigation, then go down to rerouting. Then you can choose to reroute it, and most of the times that'll fail too. But it's the thought that counts. But here's what I'm actually upset about. The fact that you cannot create a route to go back to the start directly. It has to always follow the course you came, which defeats the entire point of rerouting on a wearable. The idea is almost always to get back to the start in the fastest possible scenario, where you've gone out somewhere and you're like, no, this big loop's not working out. I just need to get home. It can't do that. And then even if it could do that, which it can't, by the way, to create any route to any other location, you have to end the activity. Not just pause it, you have to factually end the activity in order to create a new route somewhere else and to load that route up. And the funny part is here, if you go into the Maps app mid-activity, so say you've got a run, you've been running for 10 miles, 10K, it doesn't really matter, and then you go into the Maps app and try to create a route, then you can create the route just fine, right? You can tap somewhere else, it does it calculating, it may work, it may not work, and then at the end of that, there's not an option to route it. Normally, you'd see this option right there to actually route it, but on this screen here, if an activity is already ongoing, even if navigation is not loaded at all, it's just like, nah, you can just look, but don't touch. I know this is like the best clickbait on earth. People love to say it's a Phoenix killer. If you've used a Phoenix watch, if you used other watches, you know they just don't have all these issues. And that's the thing with Amazfit. They throw all these features out and they make all these headlines with great prices, and it's awesome. I love seeing them add in a flashlight. Why the heck Coro, Sunto, and Polar don't have a flashlight by now is beyond me. But they don't. But Amazfit comes in and does it on a watch that's well priced. Like, kudos there. But when it comes to the software side of things, it's just very rough every single time. They're always half-baked. And I was thinking about this the other day on a ride. Like, why is this so bad consistently year after year after year? And it really is, there's only like 3 possible scenarios here. Number one, they don't have any external beta testers at all. So prior to a product shipping, they don't have anyone that is testing these devices and giving them feedback, etc. That's a possibility. Number 2, by the way, it has to be one of these 3, to be clear. Number 2, they have external beta testers, but they simply ignore them. And they say, that feedback doesn't count, right? That's a possibility too. Number 3, they have external beta testers, but those beta testers simply aren't good at their job. They're not the right people, etc. They're not sporty enough. They don't understand how sport devices work, etc. And thus they aren't catching these things. Or put less nicely, those beta testers suck. Like, it has to be one of those 3 things. That's factually a case here, because no company with external beta testers would release products like this. These are just completely unusable from a navigation, routing, offline, whatever you want to call it standpoint. It's not like debatable. Like, this is bad stuff, which is a shame because I think Amazfit's doing good stuff in many areas. For example, the Amazfit Helio Band I've been wearing right there, that is doing great stuff in certain areas. Although, once again, from a software standpoint, been wearing this last night, some of the stats came back to the watch, some of them didn't. My training from yesterday didn't come back to the watch, but it did from here. Like, whoa. And here's the thing, Amazfit can keep on throwing hardware out like this, and it'll keep on getting all the YouTube clickbait headlines, but eventually those clickbait headlines are going to turn towards yet another half-baked product, because that's what this is. Versus if they just took that feedback in and fixed the product before it was released, they wouldn't get videos like this. They wouldn't get reviewers looking at their products going, none of this stuff works very well at all. Which is too bad for consumers, because ultimately we need more competition, especially when these things now cost $1,200 to $2,000. We need more of these out there. We just need them to actually work. With that, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good one. There is a ton more sports tech coming over the next few weeks. Stuff that's priced well, and as you might expect, some things are, again, stupid expensive. Have a good one.